The Blue Line Voice. Blood, sand, and smoke.
And I said, Hazmat's coming. Hazmat's coming. And we started moving that rig. We had a 300-pound dry chem extinguishing system built inside the rig. So we were able to put chemical fires out. It had 300 pounds of dry chem and 100 gallons of AFFF. So we were forward thinking on that. And that's when we had the emergency in Stanford that we burned the 4 firefighters at a chemical plant. Prior to that, within 3 months before that, I approached because they were districts. There were 6 different chiefs, 5 volunteer in the districts and then fully paid downtown. I met with them in October, I want to say 88 or 89 maybe. And I said, hey, Hazmat's coming. I'm telling you. I said, I'm going to tell you what, Turner River's giving me the okay to move forward. I'd much rather you all join me than me hang out there alone. Saying, think about it with budgets coming up, all that kind of stuff. And then try to get 6 chiefs on the same page, all that. In January, we had a fire downtown, United Organics, burned 4 firefighters. 1 firefighter drove a car to my wedding party. The other firefighter grew up 3 streets away. We played hockey together. We played baseball together. And, when you get older, you think this, but you never say it out loud, which was, I told you guys so. I told you, you wouldn't listen. And that started me saying, somebody's got to know how to do this better. And that's kind of pushed me into the hazmat arena.
Yeah. Which leads me into the somewhat the next question. You were the Connecticut Instructor of the Year and National Instructor of the Year, both in 92 and 98. FEMA and the National Fire Academy brought you in to help develop the national curriculum for emergency response to terrorism, but I believe also your mindset with hazmat was part of that. Help that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What actually happened there, a good friend, Chris Hawley, Baltimore County, he was in charge of the hazmat program in Baltimore County. And me and Chris were good friends. And both of us, our forte is instrumentation. And Chris had a good background on it. I had a really good background on it. And when the Fire Academy were looking for somebody to write this program, the arena basically said, you need to get a hold of Frank Docimo and Chris Hawley. Those guys will do a great job for you. What was really cool is at that time in the National Fire Academy, they didn't have anybody to oversee us. They were going through some changes in budget. So we basically had free reign, which was very unusual. There's a lot of programs that I work with and worked on that we can't say this, we're going to bump this. They just basically left us alone and said, get this thing out. And it really was because both of us were good hazmat guys moving into this new arena of chemical emergencies dealing with terroristic events.
I think sometimes hazmat is, it doesn't come up on the priority list a lot, right? When we think of the fire service, we think of fires, or we think of vehicle extrications or building rescues or whatnot. But hazmat, one, it's dangerous, right? And 2, you need to be specifically trained in hazmat, where a lot of your big fire departments and agencies throughout the country actually have dedicated hazmat divisions. Am I correct?
Yeah. If you're in according to OSHA, any fire department, I don't care if you're paid or volunteer, there's 5 levels of training in under OSHA for hazmat: awareness, operational technician, specialist, and incident commander. As an example, the cop will be trained to the awareness level. Usually a 4-hour program, show them what a diamond is, remember, my cousin and uncles were cops, so I used to tell them there's three things you guys can do at a chemical emergency, and that's handcuff it, shoot it, or read it its rights. Other than that, you better call a fire guy, you know. So that was simply recognize. Operational, according to OSHA, says if you're a fire department and the bay door opens, you're operational. Now, originally, that was the 4Ds: damn it, dike, defensive, and basic decon. That's where most fire departments should be. So it's still a defensive tactic. When you get to offensive, that's where the technicians are. And that's where I spent most of my career training. Technician level hazmat teams after 9/11, Pentagon Protection Force, CIA, National Security Agency, because one of the things I developed was a system that works.